It's one of the highest performing Mustangs Ford offers, plus a racetrack. It's a match made in heaven, right? We will get back to you on that coming right up. First, let us talk about what the Ford Mustang Dark Horse is. It is a 500 horsepower, fantastic sounding V8 engine. Now, it's also a pretty big car. We threw it on our intercomp scales, and it weighs in at just under 4,000 pounds, and that is a lot of mass to fling around a racetrack. Now, the Dark Horse option package also comes with cool trick stuff like MagneRide shocks, specific suspension tuning, and Dark Horse specific tuning for the stability and traction control programming with very track aggressive settings. So here's where we get to the interesting part. The Dark Horse also comes equipped with an optional handling package that our test car was not equipped with, and that, I feel, is one of the great downfalls of the configuration that we tested this Mustang in. So the wheel and tire setup on this particular Mustang Dark Horse that we tested on track with is not really the ideal wheel and tire setup to showcase the performance capabilities of this car. But hey, if you want to showcase the performance capabilities of your car with the right wheel and tire setup, check out this video's sponsor, Tire Rack. You can find out more about all of the fantastic wheel and tire options they offer to help you get on track. Down in the description, click that link and check them out. Now, the standard wheel and tire package is no slouch. It's 19 by 9.5 front and 19 by 10 inch rear wheels with 255mm wide tires in the front and 275mm wide tires in the rear. But this is a 4,000 pound, very high performance car. That is not quite enough tire to handle the capabilities of this chassis. The Dark Horse handling package, on the other hand, comes equipped with 10.5 inch wide wheels in the front and 11 inch wide wheels in the rear, with a 305mm tire in the front and a 315mm wide tire in the rear. Now, that is a tire and wheel package much more suited to the capability of this car. So let's talk about the other thing that I feel let this Mustang down on track a little bit, and that is the 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm not someone to just automatically discount automatic transmissions as something that's not appropriate for track driving. As a matter of fact, there are plenty of totally suitable automatics out there that are perfectly suited for track driving. This Ford automatic, however, it might be a fine transmission, but the implementation is not great. It frequently will delay the shifts on the upshift. It doesn't seem to like shifting at high RPMs. And when you hit those upshift and downshift paddles on the back of the steering wheel, their action is nice, but the timing between hitting those paddles and the transmission selecting the next gear that you selected seems to actually be variable, which is very tricky to make a car go fast. I found that my most consistent laps were actually made by shifting that transmission, especially upshifting that transmission very, very early. And as we talked about before, the power in this car peaks above 7,000 RPM, so it doesn't necessarily like to be shifted particularly early. And on several downshifts, it just flat refused to downshift when I wanted it to. I had to wait until at sometimes I was deep into the corner before it would actually execute that downshift. So the transmission programming not exactly suited to some of the other capabilities of this car. So for a look at how this Mustang Dark Horse performed on track, let us go to the V-Box data from our V-Box HD Mini that we test every single one of our cars on track with. And let's take a look at the speed trace from our best lap. Now, looking at this speed trace, I do like a few things right off the bat. I really like these braking curves, and the Mustang Dark Horse has an absolutely phenomenal set of brakes on it. In fact, it's got a 15.3 inch set of front rotors and a 14 inch set of rear rotors that are squeezed by 6-piston and 4-piston Brembo calipers respectively. And even though this is a 4,000 pound car, brings that Mustang to a halt with fantastic feel, fantastic response, and as you can see from how steep these braking traces are, just absolutely fantastic performance. So definitely maximizing the potential of the car and of the tires with the brakes. But let's look at what this Mustang is doing in the corners. And to compare that, I'm going to bring up the best lap from another recent test car we had, and that's going to be the latest version of the Honda Civic Type R. So you can see that that Civic is a little bit slower in lap time than the Mustang, but let's look at how those cars are doing it. So the first thing we see is this red speed trace of the Mustang is higher in every acceleration zone, which is exactly what a 500 horsepower car should be doing when being compared to a 300 horsepower car, which is the blue acceleration trace here of the Honda Civic. You can also see where the shifts of that manually equipped Honda Civic are causing a little bit of a pause in the acceleration. But here, especially accelerating the last few meters towards turn 8, you can also see where the acceleration of this Mustang plateaus here. That's where the car is no longer accelerating because the transmission did not want to shift comfortably up there and then shift immediately back down. So we had to make a decision there. We had to either shift way too early and let acceleration fall off drastically, or bounce off that rev limiter for just a few feet to be able to be in the right gear once we turned in to that next corner. So we can see the Mustang being slightly faster at lap time than the Honda Civic because its terminal speeds were a lot higher. For example, we see heading down this straightaway here towards turn 5, we see the Mustang with a almost 5 mile an hour advantage, 98 miles an hour of peak trap speed versus 94 miles an hour, so a 4 mile an hour advantage in peak speed. And then going into our final corner, 115 miles an hour for the Mustang terminal velocity versus 108 miles an hour for the Honda Civic. So that's a 7 mile an hour top speed advantage. So that is where the Mustang is making up its lap time, but it's definitely not doing it in the corners. For example, let's look here in turn 4, where we see the Honda Civic at mid corner having a steady 2 to 3 mile an hour advantage. We can see our speed readouts here on the Mustang and on the Civic. So we see the Civic going through this corner at a steady 2 to 3 mile an hour advantage over the Mustang. And likewise in this long turn 8 section here, the Civic with the blue trace, faster on turn in, faster at mid corner, faster at the exit. It's only when the power starts coming down that 500 horsepower of the Mustang is able to retake what advantage it has over the Civic. So what we have here is a Mustang with a surprisingly capable chassis. The handling is good, it's predictable, the car is actually tossable. The limits though are frustratingly low because the car seems to be so under tired with those 255 and 275 millimeter wide tires. It's just not enough tire to keep up with the capabilities of this chassis. The car's got fantastic brakes, it's got good steering feedback, it's got good handling, but it's let down by not checking the proper box on that option package. The other box on the option package that probably shouldn't have been checked is that 10-speed automatic box. This car with the 6-speed manual, even though you're gonna spend a tenth of a second here and there making upshifts, with a good rev matching downshift, whether you're doing it heel and toe or whether you're letting the computer do it, I think that 6-speed is going to be a much better companion for making lap times than this 10-speed was, which is just a little bit clumsy in its implementation. So we are left now thinking that we would love to try out a Mustang Dark Horse with the handling package equipped, because I think there is a lot of potential in this chassis. And maybe if we're celebrating what this car is and not criticizing what it isn't, I think that you could possibly save a few dollars by purchasing a Dark Horse with the standard wheel and tire setup and upgrading those wheels and tires for yourself, maybe even from our sponsor Tire Rack, which would be a great place to do it. So maybe this is a little bit of a diamond in the rough. The chassis is good, the brakes are phenomenal, but ultimately this Mustang Dark Horse is let down a little bit, I think, by a substandard wheel and tire package and a transmission that needs a little bit of better implementation to really be a true useful device on track. Folks, thank you for joining us here in the shop while we do our latest track test, analyzing some data from a car that was a heck of a lot of fun to drive on track. If you like the videos that we are producing here at Grassroots Motorsports, hit that like button. If you love the videos, hit that subscribe button and you will get the first crack at all of the content we put here on YouTube. And hey, join us over at our website, grassrootsmotorsports.com, where you have access to all of the online and print editorial that we produce, as well as being able to join the conversation yourself on our message board. We appreciate you stopping by. Hey, while you're at the website, you can pick up some great GRM merch just like this, and we will see you next time at the track.
Want to see more content like this? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And for more information, visit us online at grassrootsmotorsports.com.